What's up, people? This evening I'll be interviewing Roxy Pope. Roxy Pope has a new film out called Queen of Knives. What's up, K Tukes? And Roxy just joined the room. I love when people are on time. Punctuality is like, it's everything. And we have the legend, Mr. Gene Pope, just joined the room. Welcome to the room, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well and good, and thank you for joining in. Thanks, Gene. I'll be interviewing Mr. Gene Pope on Saturday morning, so you could join us for a cup of Joe and a nice conversations. Just waiting for Roxy to come in. How are you, Gene? Oh, Roxy says you're unable to join. What happened? Yeah, yeah, I accepted it. Sometimes this happens with people. Um, do you have the latest version of Instagram? This isn't a rare thing. It happens a lot, actually. I just sent you another invite. Okay, so Roxy's going to do an update. So Mr. Gene Pope invited me to the Soho Film Festival to screen his new film, Queen of Knives, which is a sequel to King of Knives. And you guys, this is an awesome film. And actually, it's two awesome films, and they go hand in hand. I don't want to talk about it too much because I want to talk about it with the artist. And Roxy is actually the offspring of Mr. Gene Pope. And in the movie, Roxy plays the offspring of Mr. Gene Pope. Roxy!
Hi! So sorry for the delay.
It's okay. You're here. How
Yeah,
are you?
I'm okay. How you doing?
I'm doing well. So, first of all, before we get started, the Spawn, your pop is crazy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I can absolutely attest to that.
So, I want to apologize to you because I'm so used to you having the brunette hair, right? And I was actually looking for you at the red carpet premiere, but you had blonde hair, and I didn't recognize you. And I
Oh,
didn't know who you were until you actually got on stage. And then with all the conflama that was happening after, I didn't get a chance to see you and actually shake your hand and tell you what a wonderful job you did in this film.
thank you so
So
much. That is totally fine. It was really chaotic
it
afterwards, too. So,
was, it
oh my God.
was, but it was a beautiful chaos, though. It was
Yes, it
beautiful.
really was. But I'm really glad to have the chance to talk to you now. This
Yes,
is this is awesome.
absolutely. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So let's learn a little bit more about you. So, how did you start acting?
Oh, that's a really great question. Oh man, I gotta think back. I've been doing it for a long time. For a while, it was like a hobby of mine. I really loved doing when I was younger. I think actually, if I remember correctly, it was like there was this play that my elementary school was putting on, and they were like, "Do you want to be like Elf One?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do." And then I loved it from there. And then I started doing summer camps.
Hmm.
I went to Stage Door Manor for like 5 years and thought I wanted to do musical theater, and then finally accepted that I am so much better at acting than I am singing. I just can't. It's just not my lane. Yeah, and then I started doing. I went to a conservatory with that was actually like kind of like a sister program to the one that Jean did, and
Okay.
the William Esper Studio. I started there, and I did their summer program, fell absolutely madly in love with it, and decided to pursue that. And that's when, after doing that 2-year program, that's when I really decided to get serious about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So what is, I guess, the biggest thing that you've done before, like in going into something larger after school? What is like the biggest acting job you've had?
This this is
Yes,
definitely.
really?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It was. I did like a lot of short films. I did
Hmm.
um, some what's it called, industrials, where you like Walmart has like a video training video that you do. Like I did a lot of those. But this was absolutely like a big break for me. I didn't have anything.
Okay.
So yeah, coming to set was definitely like, oh my God.
The King of Knives was a brilliant dark comedy, right? And it dealt with layered subject matter that took a lot of emotion, right?
Yeah,
What do you remember most about the first movie?
man, we were so lucky with that first movie where we had the ability to rehearse before, like for a week and a half before we even started filming, we had rehearsals, and so it was so wonderful to get into the room and to see everybody and to work out the kinks and the
Hmm.
moments. That was such a pleasure. Yeah, and also because I think Lindsay's style for the first one too. I mean, even the second one too. It's like the relationships are so strong. They're strong that like in a way that reminds me of theater. Uh,
Hmm.
and I think that was such a great opportunity to work on a not only just like a big feature, but one that had like really strong relationships both off and on screen. Uh,
Hmm.
and there's just this one moment too that I will never forget, which is I don't know if Gene told you this, but he wasn't the most confident dancer. And during King of Knives, there's this huge dance scene where he's on drugs and stuff. And that day we had 75 extras. It was a large production day, and it was so sweet to see him just like losing it and having the crowd just like cheering for him. Like both me and Carrie Young, the incredible Carrie Young, and I were off to the side just like tearing up with joy, just watching him being able to just like lose himself and have like the support around him. It
Yeah,
was just so nice.
yeah. In the first movie, it was your first time meeting Miss Mel
Yeah.
Harris.
Oh yeah.
So Mel Harris is a legend. She's like it. She's the queen. How did
Yeah.
you how did you feel knowing that you had to play her daughter in the movie and you would have to act side by side with her?
I'm absolutely intimidated.
Yeah.
Absolutely intimidated.
Talk to me about that. I want to know. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
how did you really?
I mean, Mel is also like one of the most like genuine people too on set.
Hmm.
She's so hardworking. It was obviously I was like really nervous and wanted her to like me because I'm playing her kid. So you know,
Yeah.
um, but she was so warm and welcoming and looked out for everybody too. Like if there was a point where like I had a question, she would be like, "Wait, Roxy has a question. What's your question, honey?" And I was like, she just takes really good care of people.
Nice.
Yeah, and
Nice.
she's clearly so talented, and it was also such a pleasure and a huge privilege to learn from her and how she was talking to the director,
Hmm.
how she was talking to the DP, like at the cameraman, whoever. It was really great.
And what was your biggest lesson coming from King of Knives? What did you learn about that whole not about the production, but about your craft and who you are in your craft from doing that movie?
That's such a good question. I be patient,
Mm.
because you think that there's take after take after take after take, right? And if you try to get it correct, or the like correct, right? There's no such thing as correct, but like if you try to get the best take every time, you're not. And to allow for that fluidity of whatever happens,
Right.
happens. I
Right.
think that can really only come from patience and like breathing and remembering to
Mm.
like uh, the person on the other side is also rooting for you.
Mm. And what was it like working with your father?
That was great. It was so easy.
No, it's. I mean, was it like kidding around the house? Was it just like with cameras and lights around?
Kind of a little bit, yeah. Yeah, we were lucky enough where I've talked about this before, but I think a lot of times, like in order to work with a parent as a kid, there's a point in your relationship in which you stop being like parent and kid and start like kind of respecting each other as like mutuals, as
Hmm.
equals more. And I think for he and I, just with like the events that happen in our life, they're just happen. We we got to that point faster than probably most people would.
Hmm.
And we were going through this acting program together. So all of those layers of just like being excited about the work and already having like a very respectful relationship with one another, it allowed, sorry,
It's okay.
I
It's life.
yeah. It made it super easy then for us to connect and just to kind of let loose, because we'd also had practice with the short films. We'd learned like how to smooth out the kinks of communication and what our boundaries were, and if we had new boundaries, whatever it
Right.
was.
Right. Okay. So one of the most profound things for me, and I wrote a note down about Queen of Knives, and I want to tell you what I said. I said that Queen of Knives, and I said this on another show that I worked on because I review movies. And this is what I said about Queen of Knives. I said it was a meaningful testament to aging with maturity and truth.
That's beautiful, first of all.
Yeah.
What?
Well, that's how I felt. That's how I
Yeah.
felt. So there was a moment for me. It was I'm going to call it a oh shit moment. It was a oh shit moment for me watching Queen of Knives after watching King of Knives and knowing that story. And so there's in the beginning, there's a lot of comedy happening in Queen of Knives in the beginning. And then there's a moment where you guys remind us of the tragedy of the first movie. And it's an abrupt halt from the comedy. And it snapped me. And that's when I was like, oh shit, there was a tragedy. I know these people. I'm a part of this. I'm
Yeah.
connected to this. And uh, I had company with me. I had brought a guest with me to watch the film. And of course, they didn't get the same relation because they didn't see the first movie.
Yeah.
But for me, it was like, wow, this is deep. Like already, we're not even halfway through the movie, and this is some dope shit. Like
Yeah.
it's really really good. Um, Speak to the temperature of Queen of Knives versus King of Knives.
I guess when I think of temperature, I think of like dipping your toes into a pool that you think is going to be warmer than it actually is. Or you,
Warm. I mean, I
it's
say
like,
temperature, but I guess you could say theme, the feel, the color.
yeah, it's definitely, it's like a take two steps forward, one step back.
Mm.
Every character in their own way, you saw the growth of the period of time, and I think that the brilliance of that argument scene uh, is reminding people, which I forgot what rewatching it last week, which was that it's been 5 years since this tragedy. And so
Hmm.
you can grow from it, but it's not like this exponential, like everything, it's not linear. And it can't
Right.
possibly be, and to give yourself patience and grace with that, because the more pressure you put on yourself to like be better, you're going to fall a little bit harder.
Hmm.
And I think each character had that, right? Where it was just like, we can even say, Emily Bennett's character, who plays my sister, right? Like she's doing well at work. She's like starting to find her footing with partners and feeling a little bit more confident in herself. And then she gets too confident, falls on
Mm.
her
Yeah.
face. Um, we have Mel, who's like trying to finally find freedom within herself outside of the relationship, and also falls on her face a little bit with trying to compete in the power dynamic with Frank. My character falls on their face, which we didn't actually. There are parts. Obviously, the film can't get everything right. There is a time crunch, and there's a way to tell the story. But there was so much more with Maddie, my partner, who played my partner, Carmen Lebu. And I think a lot of the falling, the tripping was in that dynamic too, of just like trying to introduce somebody to your family and expecting it to go perfect instead of accepting that maybe your family is faulted, and you kind of have to let somebody see that.
Right. Yeah.
And it might fall on your face, but that doesn't mean that it's a failure.
Yeah. And also what I love too is that you have different people experiencing trauma in different ways, but still trying to cohabitate and commingle with each other, having experienced the same thing, but the manifestation of it on themselves is very, very different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It absolutely is. Like I think about, right? I don't know why I'm forgetting Emily Bennett's Sadie. Oh my god. I totally forgot Emily Bennett's character's name. The beautiful scene of her talking back to the parents. And I feel like that's the first time that the parents get to like really confront their manifestation isn't actually working for everyone. It's just working for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just love that scene. Oh my god, there's so much, and I feel like that's a great example of of what you're talking about, of just like it's not manifesting the way that they want it to, and you have to join together. Like you can make it work, you just have to get out of your bubble a little bit.
Yeah. What did you take away from Queen of Knives?
You can take 2 steps and then maybe 3 steps back, but it doesn't mean that those 2 steps were a waste, or that they were a waste. They're absolutely worth it.
Yeah.
The lesson is always to be learned, and it's also going to be a funny story later, probably.
So remind me again, what are your nominations for this film?
Oh, I haven't been nominated for this film,
Not
but
you,
we have
the film.
the film. Oh my god, it's so many. I can't even. I'm gonna butcher it with the amount of numbers, but I feel like 10 is a safe bet. Honestly,
Wow.
It's
wow.
extraordinary. I mean, we have some in the LA Film Festival right now. We had nominations for the Soho International Film Festival, the one we were both at. We've had a few. I think we had some in Milan. We had some in Europe, more in Europe. Yeah, it's
good stuff.
The screenwriting, directing, like the recognition of like the core work of this film is like getting so much recognition, as well as like we've been getting a lot of like ensembles, like best ensemble auditions. I mean, nominations, which is, I feel like that's a huge honor to get that. It's just the recognition across the board of talent. This film is just, I feel like that's one of the best parts, is like you just get to see all of these people and how incredibly talented they are.
Absolutely. How did you feel at Soho at the red carpet? How did you feel? What was your temperature that day?
I was like pooping my pants the whole time. I don't know if I can curse, but I was so nervous. You can see one of my dearest friends, one of my best friends in the entire world, was like, she took a video of me, and you can see me just like looking at everything, just like taking it all in, and then I spot her, and you can see the actual genuine smile and just not the fear anymore. It was definitely, it was more than I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was just gonna be like, here's the poster.
Is that your first red carpet?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. It is. I was trying to explain to my friend, because I've been in a couple movies, and I've out of the movies that I've been in, I've been to 2 red carpets, and it's like your mark, get set, go, and then it's like lights, It's like smile, smile, handshake, handshake, flash, flash. You can't see anything. It happens in a blur, and then you're in the theater.
Yes.
And then it's like, yeah,
Oh my God. It was like, first of all of a sudden, it was like words, it was just like word of mouth of like, oh, by the way, the film started, and we're all outside just being like, wait. And
yeah,
I remember too specifically feeling at the end of the night, just like this different level of exhaustion of just like, oh, that was a lot. Great, I mean
yeah,
a lot, but it
yeah,
was, yeah, it
yeah.
definitely
Yeah,
takes a
it's
little.
exhilarating. It's
Yeah,
fun. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So who are your inspirations? Who do you look up to in the craft? Who inspires you that way?
That's a good question. Toni Collette. That
Yeah.
woman is
She,
so freaking good.
she's like a mutant. She can do anything.
Yeah, I really love her. I love Viola Davis.
Mm,
I love Joaquin Phoenix is so good.
hmm
Um, yeah, those I feel like are the first few off the top of my head. I'm gonna obviously blank on everybody else's names because that's how my brain's gonna work under pressure. But yeah, I feel like those are good, solid three I've got.
Yeah, they were good. They were
Yeah.
good. What's your dream role?
My dream role? That's
Hmm
so hard. I would love to play. Honestly, now that I'm older, I don't want to play main characters. I think the side characters are so much more fun. You have so much more bandwidth to play. You have so much more, yeah, like bandwidth, freedom. They're just more fun, I guess. There's
I
less
kind
like,
of saw that in your character because I could tell you were having fun playing that character.
yeah.
I could tell. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I'm also lucky too because Lindsay Joy wrote like the funniest lines for me.
yeah.
I will die on that hill. She wrote the best lines for me, for sure. Um, yeah, it's a lot more fun. I feel like I would love my ideal thing would be like on a dramedy like TV series like
Okay.
that. Obviously, the fun, silly character that just gets to pop in sometimes and be like, "Hey."
Yeah, yeah. So that day you made it a point to talk to us about the SAG-AFTRA strike and why you were able to talk to us and why we were able to see that film at that time. Can you talk to me and my people about that?
Yeah, absolutely. The production company had signed an interim agreement that allowed us to talk about the film and uh, promote it while still standing in solidarity with the strike. Um,
Mm,
and the reason why the interim agreement I think exists is so that it doesn't. The point of the strike is not to. They don't want to crush the little guys
mhm.
that are trying. They're the ones trying to survive under all of this chaos and corruption, and that interim agreement allows for them to still survive and float because there were incredible films that were made before um, the strike even started, and it also just what's I going to say about it? There was yeah, they just don't. I think it was it also just shows that like if they can sign if smaller production companies can sign interim agreements and meet SAG-AFTRA requirements,
Mhm.
these big production companies can as well. There's just literally no excuse. So,
All right.
I,
I
easy.
really thought that you were very thoughtful in doing that, and it was educational for us being audience members. And I think that there was a little confusion. How could all of this happen when there's a strike going on? And I'm so glad that you were able to educate us on how it was possible.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, we were all. I talked to a bunch of people about it too afterwards. Literally at the premiere of being like, "Are we supposed to be talking about this?" I'm really scared and not really truly understanding the breakdown of the interim agreement and but understanding like no, it is there. We can. This allows us to. It's not because we all want to be in solidarity. We don't want to, cut off our chances for better opportunities in the future for people to earn a living to get healthcare. Like nobody wants to sabotage that.
right,
It's
right.
out of respect, but also then hearing that everyone was like, okay, thank God.
One of my good friends, and I interview him and I talk to him quite often, is Mr. David M. Rain. He was in King of Knives, and I had him on the show not too long ago, and he was talking about the strike itself.
Yeah.
And I would like to hear you talk about the strike and why are artists striking? What is the purpose?
The purpose is, right, only a small percentage of SAG-AFTRA, those who are under SAG-AFTRA, the right, are can make millions. The amount that you see, right? Because what a lot of people assume when seeing the strike, they're like, well, all these movie people, these movie famous stars are making millions of dollars. Why are they striking? And we forget that the majority of SAG-AFTRA is actually people under the poverty line. People not able to afford, like they're not getting these like big, like main character, like, or even reoccurring character roles. It's nearly impossible. Like there's so many people who obviously I can't remember all the names off the top of my head, but there are so many people who've spoken who are very active in Hollywood, who live in LA, who are booking things and are still like, I can't pay my rent. I can't literally afford the healthcare. I'm not meeting the bare minimum. And also the fear of just taking over, like having your rights to your face, to your voice. Not that if you're in a movie then or record it once or seen once, that somebody is allowed to take that and recreate it without your permission, without pay, without opportunities. And there's also one other aspect that I'm totally blanking on. Yeah, I think that's a majority. If I think of it, the rest of it all. Yeah.
Yeah, and I like to, for people that don't fully understand, I like to describe it this way. So you have a new actor who is new to the industry and maybe did a independent film and now they're in a major film. They were able to receive their SAG ability, and now they're SAG, but now they have their face scanned, and now they're doing their second big movie. So they have their face scanned for AI, and they don't get called for jobs anymore. But the AI version of them goes on to make so much money that artist doesn't get paid.
Yeah.
And they don't even have an opportunity to have the career that they could have if they were able to be in the industry normal.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
It's wild. It's absolutely wild. That should never have been an option to begin with.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. And it's kind of barbaric. Like, who thought of that?
Right.
I guess someone
Right.
who's getting all the money.
Yeah.
Someone who's getting all the money.
Yeah.
Wow.
What was it? One of the big names, I think it was the guy of Disney who was on his yacht, and he was like, all these people are being so dramatic. Live tweeted it while on his yacht, and you're just like, heavy eye roll. Are you kidding? The mirror, look, it's you. Hi.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yes.
Find a way to make that relatable to them, then they would see it differently.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. What's the next move for you?
I think actually personally the next move for me is going into theater more. I
Yeah.
miss it so much. Yeah. I've been
What,
really
do you prefer doing plays more than actual motion picture?
for a long time it was actually the opposite, where I preferred film because of all the opportunities to take after take after take. But
Mm-hmm.
I just recently, I had taken a little bit of a break after Queen of Knives, and I thought, because I just, you get wrapped up again, not being able to make a living and having rejection after rejection after rejection, you start to forget why you're doing this. You just are constantly
Mm-hmm.
met with like, well, if I can't, like, where can I exert my creativity? It's
Mm-hmm.
without feeling self-worth is at risk.
Yeah.
Um, and so I decided to go back to classes, and through the classes and doing more like scene work, it made me excited and remember what I loved originally about theater, and
Mm-hmm.
living that moment to moment, seeing those relationships build live, that like that electric feeling of having a room experiencing that with you. That's
Mm-hmm.
even something that I remember of Queen of Knives, of like the fight scene between Sadie and I
Mm-hmm.
on the front lawn. That that scene too, and having everybody outside with us. It was also so late at night, but all of us, I just remember feeling that same electric feel.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I really want that.
Yeah, it's that instant gratification that you get from the feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. So I think I'm gonna steer a little bit towards there, and also again another issue of money and you know
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
So, do you ever take ego hits from being out there in the hustle, trying to sell yourself to get into projects? Do you take hits to the ego when you're rejected?
Absolutely.
How do you deal?
I like to treat my brain sometimes like a pet. That sounds morbid, but more meaning. I like to give. I plan treats for myself afterwards.
Mm,
So to say like good reinforcement of trying and making that the valuable thing rather than did you get it? Did you feel good about it? It's also
mm,
a way of distracting my brain from like just the constant loop of like, was that good? I don't know. They said they blinked weird. I don't know. Did they like me? They just said thank you afterwards. I guess I left. I don't know. Am I gonna, in the it just kind of distracts it and moves your brain to go here.
I want two stories from you. I want a really good audition story, and then I want a really bad audition story.
Okay. um, my I don't know if I've actually hit. Oh, yeah, the really good story was actually with Emily Bennett. Oh my God, that is one of my favorite auditions I've ever had in my entire life. Because also, sorry, there was a moment uh, where after it was the callbacks, and so what ended up happening was that they were auditioning different versions of Sadie, different versions of Caitlin, and we all had audition together at some point in some combination.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I did one with one woman and it went fine. It was okay. And then I remember getting in the room with Emily Bennett and immediately she was like, "Hey, can I give you a hug? Like, are you okay with touch? Can I?" And I was like, "Oh my God, yeah. Oh my God, yeah." And she immediately made it feel like we were really siblings.
Yeah.
And that immediate connection. And I also just learned from her being like, "Oh, right. We are just people. We're not competing against one another.
Right.
We're in together. Like, let's just have fun."
Right.
That was beautiful. And then that was also, I walked away and I was like, she's gonna get it. She's absolutely gonna get it. That was the best. That was the best out of everybody that I worked with. That was whether it was with me or if I got it, she was gonna get it. For
Okay. Yeah.
the worst one of my most recent ones. I'm trying to get back out there. Uh, I walked in. I had driven like an hour outside of the city to go audition for their company, and I got there. I walked in. There didn't happen to be anybody waiting, and I went up to the gentleman. I was like, "Hi, I'm here to audition for blah blah blah, and I would love to. Can I use the restroom though before I go?" And he was like, "Absolutely." And also too, because I'm not union, I wasn't able to go. Like I would have to wait until everybody who was in the union had gone, and if they had more time, they'd let me go. So I assumed I had like 4 hours maybe on my hands. So I was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna go. Is the restroom over here? Okay, I'm gonna go get comfy." And I like went to the bathroom. I came back out, and he was like, "They're ready for you." And
Huh.
I didn't do the thing where I like just take a second and then
Yeah.
just collect myself. I was like, okay, because immediately, again, I'm so caught up in like, this is your time. You're allowing me to be here. Thank you so much. Oh my God. So I walked in the room and I did my audition. Two wonderful women were very sweet and very kind to me. I told them the monologue that I was going to do, and they were like, "Oh, we just did that production recently." And I was like, "Oh, good." And I felt the entire time like I was almost too alive. There was like not really a lot of reactions from them. It was just a little too quiet but too loud, and you're just like totally in your head. And then at the end, I was waiting for them to be like, "Oh, can you try it this way?" or "Can you," like, any sort of feedback.
Right.
And they just go, "Okay, thank you." Oh, and then I was like, "Okay, great, thank you so much." And then finger gunned and went, "Good luck." And they both went, "Okay, thank you." And I grabbed my things and walked out. And then I realized that that was stupid in the moment. And then the guy who was outside, and I was like, "Good luck," and did it once again.
Oh, wow. That's a good one.
Thanks.
That's a good one. Roxy, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I want you to shout out some people. Anybody you want to shout out? Anybody you want to mention?
Yeah, I mean, I have so many people that I want to mention, from Queen of Knives, that if you haven't checked out, Alessandra Renzo, Carmen LeBou. There's Justin Sams, who makes a comeback.
Yes, yes, yes.
There's Neptune. There's oh my God, there's just so many people, so many wonderful people. Shout out to like all of the crew that made this happen. We literally could not have fucking done it without. Sorry, with you.
You can cuss. This is a cussing show. Yes.
All those wonderful people. Just thank you so much. Thank you to Mel. Thank you, John, so much. Thank you, Saad. Thank you, Rachel, for casting me again. Just everybody.
I actually have a Queen of Knives list, so you'll see some more of your castmates on this show. Yeah. Yeah, I'll be talking to Mr. Gene Pope on Saturday.
Oh,
We're going to have coffee together. Yeah.
That's going to be a hoot.
I'm trying to get Miss Mel. She's being a little elusive, but I'm going to get her.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah.
We all know, because she paved the way. She's probably a busy lady.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. From your performance in this movie, I do predict that you are going to go on to do great things. You are phenomenal. And I'm not just saying that because you're here. Like, you gave us an excellent performance.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're very welcome. Shout out your social media so people can find you.
Yeah, absolutely. You all, if you want to follow, my Instagram is rlewispope. I usually post more on my stories than I do on my feed, which I should get better about. But yeah, feel free to give me a follow on there. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. And again, I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to touch and agree with you, because I was looking for you. But I'm glad we have this time.
Me too. I hope
don't be a stranger. Wonderful. Like, seriously, when I connect to someone this way, like, we're forever connected. Like, any project that you have, let me know what's going on, and we're going to talk about it, because that's what I do. Just ask your dad. He's been with me. We've talked. This will be the third time on Saturday. Yeah.
I can't.
I support everything that you do.
Thank you. Thank you. I would, yeah. And now that I'm following you, I was also really, funny enough, watching your YouTube videos before ours. And they're wonderful. So I'm following you on there now, and I'm so excited to stay connected. Thanks so much again.
Absolutely. Thank you, Roxy.
See you later.
I love it. That's our thing now. That's our thing. Have a good one.